Well, that's a load of old... Oh, don't wait until you have a breakdown to need to use your brake. Oh. Closes at 1, reopens at 3.
Oh, you...
It's a little bit eerie up here. I don't know what it is. We've just been in the basilica, and even that had a little bit of a...
I think it's because everything's really dark. It almost looks like it's been, you know, covered in... You know when you've got places and traffic's going past and you get all the soot and stuff off them? It's got that sort of look about it, like it's just been neglected for years.
Maybe we've been so used to the colourful houses of Cinque Terre, but yes. And also there's no one else around. So where we are is actually on the route of the Via Francigena, which is the pilgrimage route that runs from Canterbury in England, down through France and Switzerland, over into Italy, down to Rome, and then I believe it heads off to a port city as well. And we have actually seen a couple of hikers out, whether they're doing the whole thing or not, but that would be pretty impressive. Walking from Canterbury in England to Rome. I'm pretty sure I read a lady has done that recently, an Irish lady. Pretty sure she did.
The water run, the river's gonna cry when you're gone.
So trying to be a little bit more adventurous with the old palate. Probably people are going to laugh at this saying adventurous, Nigel. I've gone for ricotta and chocolate cake. Well, that's good. Who knew cheese and chocolate go together? Well, that's a new one on me. Cheese and chocolate, cheese and orange chocolate no less. That goes together pretty well. Nicola and her banana bread with raspberry. That's why she's not partaking in any footage at the moment, because she's too busy shoveling it into her bake hole. Well, that was a little bit more stressful than it should have been. We somehow managed to get on the autostrad, the toll road, without a ticket.
We went through the electronic one where you meant to have a pass.
And the gate opened, so I was like, let's just go. But then we thought, So when we got to the other toll, we had to try to explain to them that we're idiots.
Because we didn't know the name of the station we got on at. We knew a couple of places nearby, but they kind of were like, have you come from Milano, Bologna? We're like, we've heard all those names, but no.
And then we arrive into this little village, and it's one of those, right, we see the way to get to the park up, but it's looking pretty tiny. Thankfully it brought us around the outside. But
yeah,
anyway.
We took my route, and I thought for a minute I'd got it completely wrong and taken us through, but thankfully it was the correct route.
Did well. And now, we are going to go off and see whether we can find ourselves maybe some pizza, maybe some pasta, or maybe Nicola will be controversial and get fish and chips or something.
It's got really good reviews, this place, so I'm hoping it's open and it's as good as it sounds.
Yes. Get in our bellies. These are the little roads that we definitely don't want to be bringing the van down, so well done Nicola for getting us here. I can hear plates rattling, so even if someone's cooking something in their house, I'm going in to get it. Really? Why not, eh? Why not? Buongiorno pizza. Looks like we found it. And we're going in. Cool. And after all that, we've gone from chicken and pork.
And tell him that we'd make the kitchen stay.
Yes, he was like, long time. But yeah, chicken and pork. And mainly because we saw chicken and pork being taken out to another table, and we were like, yeah, chicken and pork. The pasta and pizza can wait for a few days. Quite a posh place, actually. There's spit sawdust here. She's brought us to the posh place.
I didn't realise. I miscalculated, but you know, once you're here, you can't really get up and go.
I know, especially when you bring your free bread and you wolf it down. Yeah, we're finito. Just bread.
That was incredible.
Easily the best meal I have had since we've been full-time on the road, without a shadow of a doubt.
And the service was impeccable. And we didn't order any starter or anything, and they bought us some bread and meats. Main course was huge. And then we didn't want a dessert or coffee, but they still brought us cookies.
Oh.
40 euros. Unbelievable. And then we left a €5 tip, which the waiting staff actually get given, which is great.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Without a shadow of a doubt, if you're ever here in this village,
Anagni, or
yeah,
something like that, yeah.
put this place down. It does look like they shut in the afternoon.
And it doesn't look much from the outside, and then when you get in, it looks really posh. But don't be put off, the prices aren't extortionate. And it was amazing.
As I say, the best food I have had, not just this year, but since we've been on the road full time. And it rivals when we were in northern Spain, Granny's house. But I would say it's probably one of the best meals, definitely the top 3 meal I've had in my lifetime.
I've never seen a pork joint that big, I must admit. And it all had that lovely barbecue, like burnt taste, but in a good way. Oh, salty and yes.
Let's go back to that large pork joint comment you just made, Adam. The one thing I would say, however, is it's not very conducive to vlogging, because we're both now like, oh, this one here being fed little and often. Sometimes you can just feed her one big meal and she's done.
I must say though, as much as it was huge, I don't feel overly stuffed, which is a sign of a good meal. So I reckon I'd eat again later.
Oh, here we go, she's going to eat again. How, where does it go? Back to the van, and we shall catch up later when we explore this village. Stunning. The meal was so good, even the angels have come out to sing. So back out on the hoof again, a couple of hours work done, and we've just come back into the village, and we've just met the lady actually who lives in here. I thought it was maybe a church they were calling out of, but she was like, no, mi casa. And apparently this area up here is her baño, which I'm assuming, like in Spain, her bathroom. Very ornate, absolutely beautiful. And it was great because as we were coming down, there was about 2 or 3 sort of little old nonnies? Is that the Italian name for grandmother? Coming out of their houses, and they've all gone down and just sitting in the sun, just chewing the fat. Absolutely brilliant.
It didn't take more than a second.
For such a tiny little street, it's a very busy street. Car after car, you guessed it, after car.
Had you been watching and waiting from someplace up above, somehow.
Well, I have to say, once again, look for a park up for the night, which is fine, nice and clean, tidy. Second one in a row that's right beside the cemetery. Not quite sure what Italy's trying to tell us campervaners. But the look for a park up has revealed an absolutely stunning little village, and not just because of lunch today. It's beautiful. It's the one this morning was nice, but this absolutely stunning. It's kind of starting to come round to the whole little medieval village vibe. It's quite nice, especially with the views over the hills of Umbria as well. Just beautiful.
Welcome here. Our hearts you hold hostage. That much is clear.
Well, guys, that's us walking back to the van now. Guess what?
I'm hungry.
Didn't last long.
I've done well.
Beautiful, beautiful village, though. Really stunning.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And what's really interesting about these old villages, both in Spain and in Italy, is you'll drive through the main street and get into them and you're kind of like, it's not that much cop. But then you walk up into the old town and it's just beautiful. Back to the van, and I guess we shall catch up tomorrow on the road as we continue to make our way towards Brindisi for the boat to Greece. And I am not going anywhere near food for the next 24 hours.
Sure, I can't persuade you?
Nope.
24 hours, no chance.
Maybe a chalky bicky. What's going on here, guys? It appears to be snowing. Hey? Oh, let's get down to lower altitudes. Oh, it is freezing cold.
We've just driven over a big poo.
There you go. Bet you guys really wanted to hear that.
Not ours, by the way.
Okay, we've had a bit of an issue.
Welcome to Nationwide Flex Plus Breakdown Cover,
Yeah.
a service provided by the AA. Just to let you know,
think it's the
we may
fan belt?
record this call to help improve
Alternator
our
belt,
service.
sun belt.
This is a European breakdown line only. If you're broken down in the UK, press 1 now.
So we have just phoned European Breakdown, which as always is a bit of a stressful situation anyway, because she first of all went, no, can't find your account, you don't have European Breakdown. Check again, we do. Pretty sure the alternator belt has either slipped off or broken. I think that's what I am not mechanically minded at all. We do have a spare alternator belt with us. Fingers crossed the assistants, I'm going to assume not though, fingers crossed the assistants can fix at roadside.
It's the AA, the cover we've got, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they're like in Europe.
Because the alternative would be then to obviously either tow or put our vehicle on the back of a pickup. The issue being is we're due to get a ferry in about 10 hours time over to Greece.
And just as importantly, I'm due to get my hair cut in 4 hours.
I've got clippers in the back, so we're all good. But yeah, at least we've managed it. We had pulled over at the side of the motorway, and it was not a very safe place to be. So thankfully we drove down. There was a garage sort of 2k away, but
They're saying 60 to 90 minutes for breakdown. And I did kind of say we need to get to Greece today, and she seemed a bit kind of like, oh, okay. I said, you know, the sooner the better, please, if you can get here. I'm really shaking.
losing power steering on a pretty fast motorway isn't the best thing.
And we have a full day. We've got no shopping. We need to do the laundry. As I say, I was getting my hair cut.
Yeah, let's just put this into perspective. We lost power in the battery on the side of a motorway, but Nicola's terrified we've got no spare bread.
I've still got some yogurt left.
Hallelujah. Right, we'll catch up when
We know a bit more.
we know a bit more. Oh, just very quickly. See, mental note to self. Don't wait until you have a breakdown to need to use your breakdown stuff. Putting this together, it probably would be easier to fix the van. It's a complete nightmare. And then of course you put it up, and because there's fast moving lorries, the bugger just blows over.
Did it blow over?
Kind of. Well, it kind of blew over, and the only place I could put it where it wasn't going to get blew over, the cars couldn't see it anyway, so pointless. Oh, but in beneficial news, I haven't put this jacket on in a while, and I just found €2. Might buy me a coffee. So it looks like they're sending a tow truck. I really hoped. We have a spare alternator belt on us. I'm not sure whether I said that, but they clearly don't like to do things at the side of the road or in the garage or in the petrol station forecourt. But yeah, tow truck, no power steering. Never been towed before.
Do you need to be able to steer? Surely they're just dragging you along behind them, aren't they? Hang on, we haven't got a tow bar.
That's a small detail. So just a quick update, Nicola's away off to the loo. This is where I feel really, really responsible and trying to keep as you probably know, Nicola can get quite, but this also kind of knocks me for 6 as well, but I'm trying to kind of keep a more positive spin on it. I mean, worst case scenario, I don't think there's been any damage, hopefully no damage to the actual engine or anything, because we were still able to drive a short while. But worst case scenario is they have to tow us to a garage and the garage can't do the work today. Then we have to be put up somewhere and the van has to be stored somewhere and have to change the ferry and all that 9 yards. And in the grand scheme of things, we've just been speaking to a couple of our friends, in the grand scheme of things, of course it's not as important as, you know, life matters, but still trying to kind of keep it'll be fine, you know, it's all good. But inside I'm kind of all knotted up. These are things that happen on the road, and it doesn't look like any damage, and it doesn't obviously no damage to ourselves either. I'm glad I was able to get us off the motorway. Where we'd pulled over was not safe at all. Right, the tow truck is due to come in about 10 minutes time. I'm hoping it's tow truck man with a bit of knowledge about fixing cars, but I get the feeling it's just going to be tow truck man and he's going to go, we go to a garage. Oh.
Oh, eBay notification.
Even in
That's no help.
Even in times of trial, there's always a shopping mode with this one.
It's not going to help.
See the way she was, unless you've just bought an alternator belt. See the way she was staring out the window.
Now
like
if eBay could cut my hair.
I can cut your hair. Say, we've done it before.
I'm not having it shaved again.
See the way she's just looking out the window. Like a kid on Christmas
I'm
waiting
just
for Santa.
hoping he's going to hurry up because I still got a tiny hope I could get my hair cut. I'll even go without lunch in preference to get my hair cut. That's how keen I am.
It's probably because you saw at the hairdressers they gave out free mini hot dogs or something.
I was meant to be here at 11:20. It's now 11:26.
And for 6 minutes you've been going.
I have.
So we've just had some tracking information update and it looks like the garage they want to take us to is about an hour away from here. Unfortunately in the opposite direction. So when we left in the snow this morning we were 2 hours or 2.5 hours from Brindisi. We're going to have to, looks like, either be towed or whatever, flatbed 1 hour in the opposite direction and then 2 hours back to Brindisi. So I think the chances of getting a hair chop is slowly evaporating. Oh look, someone's a little bit more jovial now.
I messaged the hair salon on Facebook and they're going to try and squeeze me in at 4 if I can get to them by then. So keep your fingers crossed, people. Oh, and for the van, obviously, as well. And I'm getting really hungry. By the way, AA sent me this tracking app, yeah? And you're meant to be able to track the tow truck, but there's nowhere in Italy that I can see. Who knows where it's coming from?
Now my joke about what if they were sending him from Chelmsford. It's our little, didn't read the small print. Have you zoomed right the way out to the UK? Make sure you don't spot the yellow van in like Spain or something.
Literally not anywhere. Don't know.
He's probably getting his haircut. So I've just been checking the garage.
What?
Gets good reviews. Closes at 1, reopens at 3.
Oh, you're kidding me. And how far away from it are we? An hour?
An hour.
You better hurry up. Oh, don't say that.
Yeah.
Because I'm still not going to get to my hair then. Because we're, what, 2 hours away from Brindisi?
Yeah.
Oh, kidding me.
Slight problem. Our tow truck already has a car on it. We did just have someone pull up in the car and with a Cornish accent, "You can't park that there, mate." And then I think he felt quite bad because we were like, "We've broken down." Still waiting. So it turns out that the garage that we were going to be going to wasn't the one that we're going to. The one we're going to is actually a Volkswagen dealership, which is positive news. But of course, there's not a yin without a yang. Whereas the other one closes at 1 and opens at 3. This one closes at 1 and opens at 3:30.
They're closed.
They don't open tomorrow at 4:30.
You're having a laugh.
At what point do we become full Italian and start waving our hands in the air?
Well, that's no use.
But they didn't give us an estimated time. So I will just email them back to know at what time exactly. So this will arrive, okay?
Okay, that would be brilliant. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, of course.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's a little bit of use. Have you checked the where he is at the moment? Let me see, he probably hasn't left yet. What?
This doesn't bode well.
What is that?
Oh, for goodness sake. I can feel my hair growing.
I'm getting peckish. Checking the garage has got any little sandwiches. Well, not how I was expecting to experience my first bit of Italian pizza. Oh, that was close. He almost took the electricity and the auto gas thing out. Oh. So this isn't the garage. because the garage was closed at 3, we have come to the depot and we have been given possibly the strongest coffee, and this is coming from a coffee lover, the strongest coffee I've ever had in my life. And so if I make it to the garage without my heart exploding, it'll be a good thing. And way to make Nicola more chilled out than she already is, give her one of those coffees. Oh yeah, the driving's crazy. One thing I really miss about not driving is a break. Oh. God damn it. Right, we've been to a garage. Things are temporarily fixed.
Huh?
We need to go back to a garage. First of all, we need to see whether we can get into a camper spot after doing some shopping. Right, we have arrived at our camper stop and Nicola's just off to check to see whether they have space. I think they do. So basically what happened was we took it, well, first of all, my God, the pickup driver. I think Nicola and I need to work on our hand signals, because it looked like she was asking me, did I want some kind of wild animal? She was like, the pickup driver. Oh my God, he was an absolute nightmare. I am so glad to be back in the van for one reason only. I now have access to a brake pedal. He was an absolute nightmare. And also putting it up, as I think I said, he almost tore off our gas and our LPG. Anyway, sort of from that perspective. So we finally got it into the VW garage, and they were basically saying this is not a VW part, the belt. We kind of knew that. We've had so many issues with bloody belts in this van that we'd tried a different belt. It had obviously come loose. We had another belt with us, and they were saying this is not the correct belt either. It is a VW belt that we'd put on, but it's a 6 thing rather than, I think, a 7 thing, so it's slightly smaller. Now that has temporarily fixed the van, but he also said it's not a genuine alternator, which is completely news to us. So somewhere along the line of all of the random belts that we've had changed, someone has put a random non-genuine alternator in. I don't know. So long and the short is, we've driven about 9 miles outside of the town and we have booked ourselves in for 5 nights here. So we have booked the van back in for Wednesday, and hopefully they can get all of the bits and pieces changed. We have also changed our ferry until Monday. We were due to go tonight. We'll have to ring up again and change that again to at some point next week, but that's a whole different issue. But hopefully there is room at the campsite and we can hunker down here for 5 nights and de-stress. I have a bloody sore head, but I'm glad to have a brake pedal back. That's all I'm saying. He was a nightmare. Right, let's get checked in, de-stress. And it turns out our last week in Italy isn't our last week in Italy. Right, well that is us in our plot, and in our plot for the next 5 days.
I've got a really bad stomach ache from the stress. I've got so worked up about it.
A day that started off in the snow and was supposed to end up with us sleeping on a ferry going to Greece.
With shorter hair.
With shorter hair, we had the hair. Has ended up with a losing power steering on the autostrad. Was pretty scary, I must admit, but not as scary as driving with the pickup truck driver.
No.
He was a little bit mental. But anyway, we, as I say, we have a fix, temporary fix, and then back on Wednesday to hopefully have the proper fix. And now the boat will be booked for Friday week.
Hopefully, we're just waiting on confirmation of that.
But yeah, so as I said earlier, what was supposed to be our last week in Italy has turned out not quite to be.
Hopefully, as well, the 5 nights here are going to be covered by the breakdown company.
Yeah.
So that's something, and then I think we'll just have to pay for a couple of nights before we get the boat somewhere. But you know what? I don't care. Just want to be safe and comfortable. So I didn't want our home taken away. A hotel sounds lovely, but then you have to try and take everything with you, and you can't make your tea and stuff.
As per usual with Nicola, we have bread in the van.
I went overboard with bread. I forgot that we might try and eat in the restaurant here tonight, and I bought all the bread. So I'm okay for bread.
We shall let you away with it.
I was in like panic mode to shop as quickly. It was like supermarket sweep.
Yeah.
We just throw things in the basket.
Style.
I think I did too much bread shopping.
Right guys, well before that sun burns a hole in my head, I guess we're going to leave it there for this week. And as I say, this should have been a little outro of us meandering under the ferry and going all Greek, but turns out we've got one more week in Italy. Don't even know where we are, but I guess that will be a story for next time. Once again, thanks a lot for following along, and we shall catch up in our last week in Italy, hopefully.
Yes.
Next week.
Please let it be.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye. Right, you said something about a beer?
This way.